On today's show,
we'll discuss the Warriors' championship run, Durant's finals MVP, and the impact this loss has on LeBron James' legacy.
Lee Ellis files a soggy report from the winner's locker room at Oracle.
And we'll count down the top 10 plays from the NBA Finals.
It's Tuesday, June 13th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live right now on NBA TV, or later on YouTube, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Mellis.
Congrats to the champs.
To his right, back from the road, it is the international man of mystery, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, over yonder, rocking a real nice shirt. It's the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! TK, what's up?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag the starters. And guess what? The Golden State Warriors are NBA champions. They got their trophy last night. They're going to be getting their rings, and they're also getting something else. A custom WWE championship belt straight from Triple H himself. Wow. It's become a bit of a tradition in the past couple of years. The Warriors got one in 2015. The Cavs got one last season. And it brings us to today's question. What other championship hardware should NBA teams get? For instance, I think it'd be really cool if the Indy 500 sent a giant bottle of milk to the champions for them to split, since that's what they give their winner, but we want to hear from you. So let us know on Twitter, what other championship hardware should NBA teams get? Send us your best tweets to hashtag the starters, and we'll hear from you later.
Durant may have more success chugging milk than he does beers. We learned he's not a huge drinker when it comes to the brews there last night. We got a fun show tonight. Finally, hashtag full squad. It's been 2 weeks. You guys have been out on the road doing a fantastic job with the finals. We're also going to look back and count down the top 10 plays from this 2017 finals. But we start by playing a little true or false finals edition. TK, you've got the questions. We'll debate the answers.
That's right. Way back on July 4th, 2016, when Golden State signed Kevin Durant, most people would have picked the Warriors to win the NBA title. And after 67 wins, a 16-1 playoff record, and a near sweep of the finals, the Golden State Warriors won the NBA title. So guys, true or false, the finals were a disappointment.
It's true. We came into this one thinking both teams are healthy for the first time in this three-match, and then a team goes up 3-0. The last two were a little bit more competitive, a little bit more contemptuous. And yeah, it came down to a couple interesting games, and I think the Warriors are pretty lucky that the Cavs didn't finish the job in Game 5, I should say, to send it to a Game 6. That being said, when it goes 3-0, when any series goes 3-0 between two great teams, yes, it's disappointing.
Especially not only these teams meeting in the trilogy there, but we had that big layoff there where both these teams had like 9 or 10 days. So that played into the hype. It was like the Super Bowl building up to this, and then you're absolutely right. It's sadly a disappointment. It's not like Godfather 3 disappointment, but it's like Back to the Future 3. It's not good. It's not brutal, but it's not good. Back to the Future 3 stinks.
Okay, let's not worry about Back to the Future 3. But look, take out the first two games, and I think the last three were pretty good. Now, the first two games, the Cavs just weren't really ready for it. They weren't prepared. The Warriors were. Game 3, they had a really good chance to win.
Yeah, that's the one, right?
And that's exactly. But then again, had they won that game, you wonder if they would have come out quite as fired up in Game 4 to play the way they did. Who knows? But I think that's the thing. The Warriors were so locked in from the start that they really took the life out of this series in those first two games. They were so determined to make up for what happened last season. But by the time the Cavs got things going, they just left their run a little bit too late. And we saw last night, of course, in Game 5, very competitive early on. The Cavs, in fact, had that lead. And you could tell some of those Warriors fans in the stands getting a little tense. They go on that big run to blow the game wide open. And as soon as the Warriors establish that double digits lead, you know it's just very difficult for a team to come back from there.
I'm sure the Warriors thought this was exciting, the way they came out and dominated after losing in 7 last year. And that all being said, we're watching a historic team. You know, a team that scored 117 games in the postseason for the first time ever. The best winning percentage in the playoffs ever with 16-1. The Cavs shot 53.5% last night and lost.
Yeah.
That's how good they were.
Yeah, you're right, because we saw arguably the greatest team of all time in the Warriors. They're definitely on the short list. We saw not arguably one of the greatest players of all time on the other side in LeBron James. That was nice to have them go at it. It just didn't live up to the hype that we all, ourselves included, of course, sort of put on this series heading into it. It just didn't live up to it, unfortunately.
We're watching the best player of his era in LeBron go up against two MVPs that are under 30, which is unprecedented. Yeah, just 5 games, especially the 3-0 5 games. Yeah. That hurt after when they went up 3-0.
But watching LeBron again, even though his team's down 3-0, as long as he's on the court, you still feel his team
Right.
is a chance.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and that's the thing about him is that at this stage of his career, after 14 seasons, rebounding the ball, hustling on defense, dunking, doing everything on offense for his team, still carrying his team, I don't think we appreciate it fully how good he is and how dominant he's been. It took 4 All-NBA players of a team to basically to beat him.
All right, Trey, next one.
All right, Kevin Durant dominated during his first championship win while taking home Finals MVP honors by scoring 30-plus in all 5 games. But like Lee's favorite singer Taylor Swift says, the haters gonna hate because as you may have heard, KD joined a 73-win Warriors team last summer. So guys, true or false, Kevin Durant's ring is tainted. Don't be a hater.
False.
Tainted?
No, it's not tainted.
You don't think
at all.
so?
No, he went there to win a championship and he won a championship. And he talked about it as well. It's not like he just clung on to a team and they were a very good team already, but he was a fantastic player and the Finals MVP. I think that validated his performance and just how good he was. Steph was great. Clay had an up and down series, but Kevin Durant proved that he's basically unguardable.
I was going to say, would this be different if, Durant scores 22 a game, he's not the leading scorer on his team, he struggles with his shot, but they win the title anyway? He's sort of like, people would maybe be going, you rode the coattails
Yeah,
of Curry
for sure.
or Clay or Draymond. But you're saying because he, at many times in this series, showed that he might be the best player.
For sure.
Still in the game, that's a part of it that's not tainted at all.
I totally agree. I mean, was it tainted when LeBron won in 2012? No. I guess people will say, yeah, he didn't go to a 73-9 team, but he went to a super team and formed a team.
He
That's
says he
why-
didn't go to a super team.
Yeah, sure.
He says it's not a super
He
team.
didn't go there because Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh were there? No. Of course, that was part of the plan.
Yeah.
But the fact is, KD went, yes, he dominated. And, I bring up Miami because if it was an OKC victory, it may have meant more to him. It may have felt a little bit different.
Like if LeBron, when LeBron won it in Cleveland.
Yes,
last year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I do think it would be a touch different. I mean, but yes, Kevin Durant was clearly the MVP of this series, so there isn't any question about it at this point.
KD's immediate legacy was on the line going into this series. I mean, and we debated that, who was under more pressure, LeBron, KD, someone else. I thought it was KD because, a title was the only thing that gave him any vindication. And even then, like I said, if he had struggled, if he didn't show up in the big games and the big moments, then I think even still people would be like, yeah, you got your ring, but you joined the 73-win team.
Yeah.
You didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. The guy averaged 35, 8, and 5, unanimously gets MVP of the finals. I
Yeah.
mean, you can say maybe they wouldn't even have beat the Cavs if Kevin Durant's not there. I think that's in play, or it's definitely a more competitive series.
It's definitely more competitive, but like we saw, I mean, Clay struggled at times. Steph, he was very, very good, underrated in this series, but Kevin Durant was the one that changed this whole series.
Right.
I mean, this is what they missed last year in those crucial moments. They couldn't throw the ball into him. And as you saw, he can basically go down the block and no one can defend him, no one can stop him. And when his shot's on as well like that, the Warriors are just unguardable.
Yeah, Steph definitely underrated in this series. And all this talk, it diminishes how hard it is to win a title.
Yeah.
Right? The guy we're getting to here in topic number 3 didn't win a title, and he was a monster. Let's get to it,
All right, Trey, final one.
All right, let's get to it. After last night's loss, LeBron James is now 3-5 in finals appearances. Not a great record, but we came into the series debating if LeBron was on Michael Jordan's level, and the team that he just lost to might go down in history as the best ever. His career is far from over, but true or false, this finals loss hurts LeBron's legacy.
It shouldn't, but it will. Because every single conversation out there will be, yeah, he was 3-5 in the finals. But what more could he have done? He honestly couldn't have done any more. Looking back at LeBron's legacy, 2011, I'm sure he regrets not beating the Mavs, not doing more in that series.
Yeah, they're favorites.
Yeah. Then the next 6 finals that he was in, 2012 through 2017, I think he's okay with, and he should be okay with. And like he said at the podium, I'm comfortable with the performance I put up. Look at those stinking numbers. I mean, he also shot 56%. It's so efficient.
Some people are making the case that this actually helps his legacy, which sounds a little wild at first,
Yeah, I don't
losing in the
buy
finals,
that.
but some say you had a 73-win team that you beat. They had to go add a former MVP who just also picked up finals MVP in Kevin Durant to beat you. So looking back on it, maybe 20, 25 years from now, it was like, wow, they had to put together that squad to take down LeBron, and LeBron still put up incredible numbers, like you said. LeBron,
The day after, people remember that they beat a 73-win team slash
You think in
the
the
best
future-
team of 3. Yeah, you're giving people too much credit to actually go through the stats and find out that this was one of the best teams of all time.
LeBron's true legacy to me is three things, sort of three-pronged. First off, he was the most scrutinized athlete in sports history. And, he's on the cover of SI as a teenager and somehow lives up to the hype and exceeds that. That's nuts. He's a top 3 player of all time. Whether you want to put him 1, 2, 3, wherever, at least top 5. At least top 5, but he's up there. And the other thing is his true legacy. Let's be honest. He went back to Cleveland, and he ended a 52-year drought in the city of Cleveland when it came to championships.
Yeah.
Once he did that, it was done. Honestly, all of this now is gravy. I hear what you're saying, Tass, like the 6-0 with Jordan in the finals, the 3-5.
I don't care. It shouldn't. This
shouldn't, right.
loss
But that's
should
his
not
real legacy.
affect
I
his
think,
legacy.
I think as well, if you look at like Magic Johnson, he lost 4 times, but he won 5 times in the finals. And I think that's the thing with LeBron. If he was to get over 500, it might change that narrative a little bit, like if he was to finish 6 and 5. But if he finishes, say this is his last finals appearance, 3 and 5, people will use that as a knock against him, but they won't take into account the fact that he went up against 2 incredible Warriors teams, also lost to the Spurs when he was basically a rookie in the NBA Finals, a rookie of being in the NBA Finals with nothing on his team. So as an actual player, his legacy for me
This won't
is
be like making you bump him up or down your all-time rankings or anything like that, is what you're saying.
No, because one of the first time he lost in the finals, he really shouldn't have even been there in the first place. You know what I mean? He carried a team of nobodies there.
Bron's legacy is fine, people. All right, we got to take a break. Up next, Lee celebrates with the champs. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the starters. As I mentioned earlier in the show, this is the first time in a long time we've got the hashtag full squad. All 4 guys here in studio. Trey and Lee, you guys were covering the NBA Finals out on the road. Trey, you were there for games 1 and 2. Lee, 3 and 4 in Cleveland, and then games 5 in Oakland. You got to see this year the championship get won.
Yeah, I got locker room access following the big win, and I managed to speak to some of the newly crowned champs. JaVale, can you explain your journey from where you started your NBA career to now an NBA champion?
Oh, man, I started my NBA career winning 19 games a year, man. And we in here holding up a gold thing. That's crazy, man.
After game 4, did you start to get nervous at all?
No, we don't get nervous, man. We just try to step it up, and we did. That's what we did.
3-1 in a similar position last year, and that's when things kind of fell apart. Were there any sort of flashbacks at all when you flew back?
Truthfully, for me, yeah. I mean, I hope nobody else did, but I don't play, so yeah, I felt like, here we go again, But I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. But I always think the bad stuff's gonna happen, but I'm glad it didn't.
Where's the party tonight, Dre?
Harlot. Party's at Harlot tonight. That's where we at.
What time do you think you'll be going to bed?
Bed? What's that?
Man, to start in Sacramento, where the goal was to make the playoffs, and to end up where I started, where I'm from, to win a championship in the same year. There's no words to explain that.
What about especially being at this team before, the We Believe Warriors, and now coming back here and winning the championship? How does that feel?
Happy for the city, man. You know what I mean? This has always been a great crowd. This is for the We Believe team and the city. The city has always been solid behind these teams, good or bad. And to be able to produce a championship for the city makes me very happy.
You've obviously got the party started already. Where does it end tonight?
Man, I don't know, but wherever it's at, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be wherever it's at. I'm gonna be. I don't even know if I'm gonna take a shower. I might just go to the club just like this.
Well, JR last year had no shirt on. Are you going to try to replicate his performance?
I'm a little older, man, and I got, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go out and stay out of trouble. I'm always in a lot of off-the-court bullshit. So I'm just gonna go out here and have fun with my teammates and enjoy this championship, man.
How heavy is that thing, Zaza?
It's not heavy at all, though. I've been lifting weights.
What's the party going to be like in Georgia tonight?
It's an amazing moment, man. The kid who grew up in Georgia, we didn't have electricity in the 90s. We just separated from Soviet Union, and life was so miserable. But starting with my parents, they gave me the chance, they showed me the right path. We always had each other's back, no matter what, and that's how we got the result, because without everybody feeling each other and trusting each other, this moment is impossible. Yeah, the numbers show that it looked easy because we're at 16-1, but trust me, it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of hits and criticisms, but it was worth it, though.
That's why you say nothing easy?
Nothing easy, baby!
Wow, Well, then nothing easy.
Yeah, that's great.
So, all right, we have 2 questions here.
Yeah.
First question, did you end up at the club? Did you get to Harlot?
No, I wasn't allowed in, actually.
What a
No,
shock.
I wasn't on the invite list.
Dress
so-
code violation or what?
No, actually, not that.
He was looking sharp.
Yeah, I was actually dressed pretty well, I thought.
Second question, did you successfully complete your challenge of taking something from the Warriors locker room?
I did. You might have seen it before. It's a cork. It's not the same cork that Trey had last year, but it's a cork. Look, there's not a whole lot you can grab there, really. There's like empty bottles or there's towels drenched in champagne. So
You made the right choice.
What was more disappointing, the finals or him bringing back a cork?
He brought back a coca. I'm okay with it.
Lee, great job.
Thank you.
Trey as well, of course. First 2 games out there in the Bay. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to count down the top 10 plays from the 2016-17 NBA Finals. This will be a blast. Don't go anywhere.
The Starters on NBA TV is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, proud partner of the NBA. Do your friends proud. Please drink responsibly.
Sadly, the NBA season is officially over, but we've got one more top 10 list for you, and that is the top 10 plays from the 2017 NBA Finals at number 10. Game 5, Braun throwing the oop to Tristan Thompson, who
Get
went
up.
high to get that, yeah.
Tristan Thompson, he's been eating healthy. He can jump higher now.
As soon as you get those tight pants off, you can just sky. Nice finish. Beautiful throw, of course, from LeBron.
At number 9, JaVale McGee got a ring. Happy for him for how far he's come, and he contributed in the NBA Finals
Where's some moments?
with a pretty.
He did this all
Alley-oop.
season, really. Catch these oops.
He did it with a rat tail, too.
Even more
Underrated
impressive.
part. It's an underrated part. At number 8, Iguodala with a little defense here in the top 10 plays from the Finals. Cavs were up 3. This was, game 3 is huge. And Iggy gets the block/steal there. A little redemption,
Yeah, I
a
think
tiny
so.
little
I
bit of
think so.
redemption from what happened in last year's Finals with LeBron blocking. Nice play.
At number 7, a couple steals and dunks. We'll start with LeBron steal and the jam. How many jams did we see LeBron throw down in these 5 games?
Oh, yeah. There were 5 or 6 we could have had on this
He
list.
did
Easy.
not stop going to the rack, and we're going to see more of him later in this top 10 throwing it down. And this one, Iggy, who we just saw, Game 5, this fantastic performance off the bench.
Oh, yeah.
With 20 points.
How many
Huge.
dunks did he have in the finals? There was a ton.
I like
Thought
that
he
he
was
was
gonna be
like,
hurt coming
I'm
in.
not laying this one in this time. Letting LeBron maybe block it. Goes for the dunk. Smart stuff. Game 1, another LeBron dunk. Posterizing JaVale McGee.
I like how Durant just slides out the way there. There you go, JaVale. You get that.
Business decision.
Yeah.
So many of his dunks just seemed like he was up there. He's like, okay, I'll dunk it.
Yeah.
Why not?
At number 5, this feels like a while ago. Game 2, Curry losing LeBron. First he goes to the rim, back to the three-point line. I'll back out one more time. Then getting back
What a finish.
to the backboard. Yeah, we're not showing you the little double dribble slow-mo.
That wasn't called.
this is
Which
in real
happened
time. Yeah, it's
right
in real
here.
time.
He got
Justin,
LeBron
see
to
it?
jump a little
Yeah.
bit. What a move.
Woo! At number 4, we couldn't decide on one Kyrie Irving play, so we're just hitting you with the medley. All right, so that's Game 5, crossing up Maka. That's Game 4 with the smooth left
Great.
hand. So smooth. Game 3, though, I think it was his masterpiece in terms of the crazy layups.
Oh, yeah.
Just dancing.
Clay's
Cooking.
D is right there.
Oh, yeah,
too.
cooking Clay, though.
Yeah.
Class. And then, arguably the
was
best
awesome.
one here. Spin. We'll do another spin here. No, it's okay. We'll just do a Euro step. Like, come on.
At number 3, it was a closeout game, but LeBron brought it, of course, including this monster jam second quarter, putting the Cavs up 8-1. No foul called, though.
Oh, yeah, you got hit in the face.
No superstar call on that.
Oh,
Look at that, yeah.
man.
Amazing.
We will stick with LeBron. At number 2, I still can't believe this happened in NBA Finals game. off the glass to himself.
What are these, the Raptors?
Like,
This is crazy.
or an all-star game. Like, it's nuts. Every time I watch it, I'm like, that happened in a finals game.
Yeah, it's like, that was my only option, to throw it off the glass and dunk it myself.
Yeah.
Just like anyone else.
He got caught in the air, he threw it up.
And at number 1, it's Kevin Durant's signature bucket from the NBA Finals. Game 3, the go-ahead basket with 45 seconds left. Brings it up off the board. Yeah, I'm shooting this. That's what he lives for.
Over the king.
Some say that was the title right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel good with this at number 1, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe not the biggest dunk, but a signature moment
For sure.
from the finals. All right, one more break. When we return, the final very solid play from the regular season and the playoffs. You're watching The Starters, presented by Jack Daniels, Tennessee Honey. We asked The Starters fans on Twitter, what other championship hardware should NBA teams get? You guys have chimed in. Trey, you got to feel the best answers.
That's right. E. Smith says NBA champs should get a jukebox that plays We Are the Champions no matter what button you push. Okay. James says a vanity license plates for everyone. You know Clay would come up with something ridiculous. I'm sure he would.
Toaster.
But my favorite answer, you got it. Alex Widener says a toaster.
I was talking about the vanity plate.
Yeah, sure. Supposedly the toaster guy has been invited to the parade.
Wow.
If it's true.
Wow.
Did he win them the title?
So you gonna be throwing out Pop-Tarts? Hope so.
Popping them up.
All right, Lily, for the final time, 2016-17 season. Very solid play.
And it's this one here from the Warriors. It pretty much seals the championship for them. Just nice teamwork. I know it's a dunk. You know, obviously I would prefer the layup, but look at that. Nice pass. Another one again. Iggy with the finish. That's what I call a very solid season from the Dubs.
Now it's time for the fan of the night. Tonight's fan of the night is Sean Diddy Combs. There was a rumor someone paid $132,000 for a pair of courtside seats, and a little Twitter PI work makes us believe it was Diddy. That's him there right beside the Warriors bench. Those look like a couple folding chairs that they threw out there.
Oh,
Hey, you're
yeah.
going to pay $132K? Sure. Those are yours.
Jammed them in there. We had a blast with the Twitter show. Shout out to everyone that joined us live on Twitter. The audio is now up on iTunes and Google Play. We discussed the Warriors' title, LeBron's next move, and we had a heated debate about how a giraffe would wear a necktie. Would a giraffe wear a necktie near its head, like right around under its head, or would it wear it more like a human?
No, human.
By the body.
It would hang down on the front of the body. Yeah.
I disagree.
Wow.
It would be up top. So it'd be nice and long.
They'd have to have a very long tie.
Have to go all the way down to
Full
the
neck
breast.
length tie.
You can see both working. All right, so we threw a poll up, and the people, 69%, nice, say by the body. A giraffe would wear its tie by the body. Now, Lee, you were still flying back from Oakland after Game 5. We didn't have you on the Twitter show. You love giraffes.
Yeah.
You don't care for neckties, but where would a giraffe wear it? What do you think?
I think closer to around the neck, the head, the top.
By the
Way
head.
up top.
I think so. Because you don't wear a tie. Oh, I mean, you wear one.
But you don't
there.
wear a shirt.
Yeah.
The shirt's not going to go all the way up the giraffe's neck.
Either way, a giraffe would look pretty cool and stylish, no matter what.
So true.
Giraffe expert has spoken. We'll see you guys tomorrow night here on NBA TV, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us. And one more time, congrats to KD and the Golden State Warriors.
Brace the night, people.